Hello all, I hope you're all doing well. We are continuing with our weekly portion review, and this week we are in the portion of Shlach, or Shlach Lecha, send, or send for yourself. And in this portion, we have the very famous story of the 12 spies, that are coming to assess the status of the land of the future land of Israel. This portion also talks about the Sabbath violator, which we spoke about last year. We have the very, very interesting concept of the fringes that go on the side of our garments as well. But today we'll focus on the idea of the 12 tribes. Now, the 12 spies, And as we're getting into this story, we should note that there's a very interesting midrash about this story, and it's seen as a prophecy, one that was needed for generations, and that's why it was written down. That's why we get deep into this topic, and we see that the portion and the Torah devotes nearly the entire portion to this story of the sin of the spies. And that would stress that this is like a multi-generation dilemma, right? That we have to really, really focus on this. And this inner struggle actually may track back even to the patriarchs, right? Where we could see even there a subtle resistance towards the settling of the land of Israel. And there's this deep tension from moving from a history of ideals to this history of actually implementation, right? We have these theoretical, pure, holy ideas, and there's obviously much more complex once we actually try to practically take on the responsibility of implementing these things. The famous Jewish rabbi and thinker, Rabbi Joshua Heschel, he expresses this transition from a movement of the category of time to the category of space, and meaning that the leaving of the abstract world, right, or of sacred time, of the Sabbath, which he talks about, and study and contemplation, and then descending from there into this land of geography, politics, agriculture, and nation building. And this shift challenges the Jewish soul. We see that for generations, the Torah really conditions us to ascend spiritually. That's the focus that the Torah talks about, seemingly. But suddenly, we are told to plant roots, to build, to participate in this messy reality of this physical world, which includes politics and economics, labor, and even war, unfortunately. Now, this tension really lies at the heart of our identity crisis, right? Do we strive to merely be spiritualists, right? Souls detached from the earth, floating in this theoretical land of purity, or are we called to be true monotheists, right? Who integrate all aspects of existence, right? The soul and the soil and the land, heaven and earth, right? Do we want to ultimately unify these things all into a unified divine mission? Now, if the Torah is truly monotheistic, then its vision is of achdut, which means unity, from the word echad, one. And unity really demands integration, right? And bringing all the dimensions of life into harmony with ultimately God's will, with the divine will. I would ever say that this integration is not automatic, though, right? It's more like a birth, which is something that's painful and something that is initially resisted, right? And it's precisely this resistance that really defines the test of the 12 spies, right? Or at least 10 of them. They are fearing the transformation from wanderers in the desert, right? Of this spiritual world that they built themselves into this land of action, right? This is the real test of our sages and our leaders, right? Are they going to be able to guide us, their people, out of the spiritual heavens of the study hall into an actual battlefield of reality? And are they going to be inspiring of their own denominations, but particularly Judaism, that embraces not only prayer and study, but also statehood, defense, construction, the cultivation of the land, right? And the rabbis have warned us that the sin of the spies will return for future generations, and that the evil inclination really targets the Torah scholars specifically when it comes to the matter of the land of Israel. Right? The most difficult faith test is not miracles or mysticism, it's actually action. Can we do it? Can we descend from the clouds and build? Can we believe that Hashem, that God, is found not only in the silence of the soul and contemplation, but also in the noise of the actual world? Right? This is a prophecy for generations, and every generation has to answer it anew. Right? The spies feared that the holiness and the nationhood can't coexist together. But we, right, we're their descendants, and we have the opportunity to correct their error, not just by believing in the promise of the land, but by actually living it, defending it, and redeeming it through a faith-driven action, right? And we're living in biblical times today. As bombs threaten to uproot us, we ultimately have to plant deeper. And as sirens sound, we have to just sing louder. And as the darkness comes, right, we have to light the torch of Judaism that doesn't hide from the world, but rather works to transform it. I wish us all a Shabbat Shalom, one where we could realize that we have to come down from the mountain and participate in this world by sanctifying it, sanctifying ourselves, and ultimately creating unity, one where we could more clearly and naturally connect with our Father. Shabbat Shalom.